Payne fell from the third floor of his hotel room. Well, now we've learned that a hotel employee is suspected of giving Payne drugs the day he died.
Rachel Zegler was already going through a rough patch in her own life. But now, hearing the devastating news about Liam Payne's passing, she could not hold it together. Right there, in front of everyone, she broke down. Rachel and Liam were almost cast in the same movie 5 years ago, and although it didn't happen, they stayed close. Clearly, they knew each other well, which is why this tragic news hit her hard. So what did Rachel Zegler reveal about her connection with Liam Payne, and why does his loss feel so personal to her? The tragic death of Liam Payne. Before we take a look at how Rachel Zegler reacted to this sad news, let's first talk about what really happened to Liam Payne. Liam's sudden death has shocked millions of fans around the world. This unexpected news has started numerous speculations, rumors, and theories about what could have led to such a tragic end for the former One Direction star. Liam was found dead after falling from the balcony of his hotel room at the Casa Sur Palermo Hotel in Buenos Aires, Argentina, on October 16, 2024. He was just 31 years old. Local authorities confirmed that he suffered a fatal skull fracture due to the fall, and an investigation is currently underway to determine the exact circumstances. What's even more tragic is that Liam's girlfriend, Kate Cassidy, had left Argentina just 4 days before the incident. This shocking news has raised questions about whether this may have affected Liam's mental state. The news of Liam's death has left people stunned, not just because of how sudden it was, but because of the mysterious nature surrounding the incident. Hotel staff reported that Liam had been acting erratically before his death. According to reports, Liam was heavily intoxicated and had allegedly trashed his hotel room. The hotel's receptionist even made a call to local police, concerned that Liam's behavior posed a serious threat to his own safety. The receptionist mentioned that Liam was in a room with a balcony and feared something tragic could happen, which unfortunately did. Now, this is where rumors and speculation started. Liam Payne had been very open in the past about his struggles with mental health, particularly his battle with depression and substance abuse. He had been candid about feeling overwhelmed by fame and the pressure that came with it, which affected his personal life. Some fans believe that Liam's mental health may have been affected in the days leading up to his death, especially after his girlfriend left the country. While it is important not to jump to conclusions before official reports come out, many are speculating that his fall could have been linked to a possible relapse into depression or substance abuse. There are even some who believe that the tragedy could have been a result of Liam feeling lost or overwhelmed, especially with his girlfriend's sudden departure. However, nothing is confirmed, and investigations are still ongoing. Liam had also been reported to have several drugs in his system at the time of his death, including a party drug known as pink cocaine. This only confirms our theory that Liam may have been struggling internally more than anyone realized. What makes this even harder to comprehend is how young he was. Liam was just 31, far too young to be gone so soon. He was at a point in his life where many believed he was finally finding his own path outside of One Direction. Though he had experienced immense success with the band, which made him a global star, Liam always seemed to carry the weight of fame on his shoulders. He was constantly scrutinized by the public and the media, which no doubt took a toll on his mental health. Fans have been left devastated, and rightfully so. Liam's death feels like another tragic loss in a long line of young celebrities who, despite their success, struggled with the mental and emotional burdens that came with fame. The pressure to always appear perfect, to meet impossible expectations, and to deal with personal issues in the public eye can be crushing. What makes this situation even more heartbreaking is that it seems like Liam was facing his demons alone. He had opened up about his battles, but it is clear that those closest to him, including his girlfriend, may not have fully understood the gravity of his situation. His struggles with addiction and mental health show us how fame can sometimes mask the real human challenges a person is facing. Now, the recent shocking revelation is that Rachel has been devastated by Liam's death. You see, Rachel and Liam had crossed paths several times in the industry, and there was a point where they were almost cast in the same movie together about 5 years ago. Both of them auditioned for the remake of West Side Story, but it was only Rachel who was selected. While they didn't end up working on that project, they stayed connected and maintained a close friendship. So how did Rachel Zegler take the news of Liam Payne's death? Rachel's unexpected response. Rachel Zegler's reaction to the death of Liam Payne has left many people shocked and concerned for her. While she has not made any official statement regarding his passing, it has been clear from those close to her that she's completely heartbroken. The two had developed a close friendship over the years, even though they never officially worked together. Witnesses say she broke down in tears upon hearing the news, and it is easy to see why. This was not just a distant colleague. Liam was someone she had formed a bond with, and losing him has hit her hard, especially given the difficult time she is already going through. Now Rachel's emotional reaction to Liam Payne's death may be more intense because of her own vulnerability at this moment in her life. Over the past few months, Rachel has been caught in a whirlwind of public backlash, career missteps, and personal challenges. If there is one thing that became clear during the promotion of Disney's live-action Snow White, it is that sometimes silence is golden. Unfortunately, Rachel made headlines for all the wrong reasons, drawing ire from both fans and critics alike for her bold and frankly disrespectful comments about the original 1937 Snow White. During the film's promotion, Rachel called the 1937 version of Snow White outdated and went so far as to label the relationship between Snow White and Prince Charming as stalkerish and problematic. That's right, she criticized the fairy tale romance that has been cherished for generations as though it needed to be picked apart through the lens of 2024. Fans of the original were furious. For many, Snow White represents an innocent and pure piece of cinematic history, a tale that didn't require a modern-day critique to stay relevant. Rachel's remarks during interviews felt tone-deaf to many. It was not just that she offered a modern interpretation of a classic fairy tale, it was how she did it. There was an air of disregard for the legacy of the story, as if she had little respect for the role she was stepping into. Snow White, for many people, is a beloved figure, not just because of the story itself, but because of the legacy it represents in animation and storytelling. Disney's 1937 Snow White was beyond amazing, and to tear it down in interviews struck many as disrespectful. If Rachel's comments about the film's history were not bad enough, she also took pride in promoting how this new Snow White would deviate from the original. Instead of focusing on fairy tale romance, this new version would center on themes like self-discovery and leadership. While those themes might sound fine on paper, the way Rachel presented them only increased the backlash. Many fans were not looking for a revamped, modernized Snow White. They were looking for the fairy tale magic they grew up with. What they got instead was a version of Snow White that felt unrecognizable. Rachel's statements only made things worse. It was not just her performance that people criticized, but her attitude towards the very story she was meant to honor. Fans felt betrayed, as if Disney and Rachel were stripping away the charm of the original to fit a modern mold that simply didn't belong. And because of this, Rachel became a lightning rod for all the negativity surrounding the project. So in the end, Rachel was the target of much of the public's outrage. This backlash could not have come at a worse time for Rachel, who was already trying to carve out a place for herself in Hollywood. Instead of building on the momentum she had gained from her earlier roles, she found herself in the midst of controversy, with many questioning her decisions and remarks. The negative press surrounding Snow White not only affected the film's reception, but also threatened to derail her career altogether. What was supposed to be a defining moment in her career became the moment that almost destroyed it. And now, with Liam Payne's death coming so suddenly, it is no wonder that Rachel has been left feeling even more vulnerable. Losing a close friend during such a turbulent time in her career must be incredibly painful. It is as if everything has come crashing down at once. Her public image is suffering, her professional prospects are in jeopardy, and now she is grappling with the grief of losing someone she cared about. Rachel has not spoken out about Liam's death yet, and perhaps that's because she is still processing it all. It is not just a matter of losing a friend. She has lost someone who was there during her rise to fame, someone who likely understood the pressures and difficulties she has been facing. This loss could be a breaking point for Rachel, as she navigates both personal grief and the professional fallout from the Snow White controversy. And the thing is, maybe Rachel's reaction to Liam's death is so raw and emotional because, deep down, she knows she is at a crossroads. Her career is in limbo, her public image has taken a hit, and now she is facing the harsh reality of loss. The backlash, the pressure, the grief, it is all building up, and Rachel is clearly feeling the weight of it. Now everyone is waiting for Rachel to make an official statement, and we are all now wondering about the same thing. How will she move forward from here? Will this moment be the final push that sends her career into further decline? About to be kicked out. There is a growing rumor in Hollywood that Rachel Zegler might be on the verge of being kicked out. Her involvement in Disney's Snow White has not only been surrounded by controversy, but her actions off-screen have also made things much worse. The film has been heavily criticized from the start, especially for the casting choices and drastic changes to the story. But what really set things ablaze was Rachel's ongoing feud with her co-star Gal Gadot. Their disagreements, particularly over political issues like the Israel-Palestine conflict, have created a PR nightmare for Disney. Rachel is a vocal supporter of the Palestinian cause. She even tweeted "Free Palestine" on X. This statement came off as a direct attack on her co-star Gal, who has been equally vocal about her support for Israel. The feud quickly went public, with fans on both sides taking notice. This political spat became yet another layer of controversy surrounding the movie. It was no longer just about the poor casting choices or the backlash over changing a beloved classic. Now, the film was embroiled in a very sensitive international political debate. But Rachel's actions didn't just stir up trouble with her co-star. They also cast a dark shadow over her career. Many in Hollywood have started to distance themselves from her, questioning whether she is becoming more of a liability than an asset. Branding experts have noted that the drama surrounding Snow White, both on screen and off, could leave lasting damage on her career. It is not just that the movie is struggling. Rachel's public image is in freefall. Her outspoken nature, especially when it comes to sensitive political issues, has made her a polarizing figure. We are hearing rumors that Disney, and possibly other studios, may no longer see Rachel as a bankable star. Hollywood is notoriously unforgiving, and while controversy can sometimes work in an actor's favor, in Rachel's case, it seems to be having the opposite effect. People are wondering whether she is too controversial, too opinionated, and ultimately, too risky for future projects. The failure of Snow White has not helped either. The film was supposed to be a huge milestone in her career, but instead, it has turned into a potential career-ending disaster. To make matters worse, the public feud between Rachel and Gal has overshadowed the movie itself. No one is paying attention to Snow White anymore. The off-screen drama has completely taken over. The press tour, which should have been about promoting the film, has instead become a minefield of awkward interactions and tense moments between the two lead actresses. It is clear that the tension is real, and it's doing nothing to help Rachel's standing in Hollywood. So will Rachel be kicked out of Hollywood? It is hard to say for sure, but the writing is on the wall. She is in a tough spot right now, and unless she can turn things around quickly, her future in the industry is looking increasingly uncertain. The worst news for her is that she is also being replaced as Snow White in an upcoming film. So what new film is that? Who is replacing Rachel Zegler now? Is Rachel Zegler getting replaced? As Disney faced backlash for its controversial Snow White remake, the Daily Wire seized the opportunity to create an alternative version that would stay true to the original Grimm brothers fairy tale. Fans of the classic have been thrilled, feeling that Disney's version strayed too far from the traditional story by infusing it with modern political themes. The Daily Wire's version, on the other hand, promises a faithful retelling, which is why it has already gained a strong following. Leading the charge for this new adaptation is Brett Cooper, a YouTube star who has won over audiences with her authenticity and professionalism. Unlike Rachel Zegler, whose comments during the promotion of Disney's Snow White stirred controversy, Cooper has remained respectful of the original material. Fans appreciate her down-to-earth approach and commitment to preserving the heart of the story, something many felt Disney's version lacked. When the teaser for the Daily Wire's Snow White dropped, it was met with overwhelmingly positive reactions. Fans were excited to see a version of the tale that respected the source material, free from unnecessary political messaging. While Disney's Snow White emphasizes modern themes such as empowerment and leadership, the Daily Wire's version focuses on the classic elements of the story. Disney's attempt to modernize Snow White has left many fans feeling disconnected from the original, and some believe that the film has lost the magic that made the 1937 version so iconic. The Daily Wire, however, is offering an antidote to that disappointment, a version that stays true to the fairy tale's roots, without the added layers of modern interpretation. What's particularly amusing about this battle of adaptations is the difference between the two films. Disney's Snow White has faced criticism for its over-reliance on CGI, and its deviation from the source material. The film's attempt to appeal to modern audiences by turning Snow White into a more independent character has alienated longtime fans of the original, who feel that the charm and simplicity of the story have been lost. On the other hand, we are going to have the Daily Wire's version, which is being marketed as a celebration of the traditional story, without any modern twists. Fans who were upset by Disney's changes are flocking to the Daily Wire's adaptation, praising its commitment to the original narrative.